All right, next juicy bit of tea this week. Perez Hilton is coming for Andy Cohen. So Perez was on Sheena Shea's podcast, Shenanigans, and he's claiming that he had an idea for a gay dads reality show. I guess it's basically like Real Housewives franchise, but like for gay dads. And he was trying to pitch the show around. He even had Bunim-Murray, which is like one of the big reality TV production companies. He had them on board. They apparently put together a pilot, or they shot something that they were using to shop around the concept. I don't know what was actually shot, if it was like his life that was only shot. I believe the idea was like it was like Real Housewives style, where you had a variety of gay dads because they wanted to focus in on that community. So there was a variety of different gay couples or single gay dads that were, kind of just in the same group together. Again, Real Housewives concept, but with gay men that happened to be daddies. And so apparently he's saying that none of the networks wanted to buy it, despite Bunim-Murray being attached to it. Apparently they called it too niche, cough, aka too gay, which, I mean, I can't disagree with. I think that is a little, like, it's like when we tried to see them do when Lance Bass hosted the gay bachelor style show. I think it was on Logo. It like only lasted a season because it's just, I think we should absolutely push for that. I think a great first step, a good gateway to eventually being able to have a show like this on the air is maybe having a gay couple on The Real Housewives. I think that would kind of, now that I say that out loud, that might be kind of weird, and some people may be upset with the fact that the show is called Real Housewives and we're adding a gay couple on there. But maybe like we start off like as a friend of, and I don't know how we do it, but I think we need to start to slowly introduce the concept of gay parents. I think we have like Nate Burgess and Jeremiah Brent. Great couple. I think they did a really great job of it when they had their design show, where the show was about them being designers together, and it wasn't necessarily a show about them and their lives as gay men or gay parents. I think as much as I would love to see that on television, I just don't think our culture is necessarily ready for that. And so unfortunately, what would happen is you would put it on the air, it wouldn't get the viewership that you wanted, so it would be seen as a failure and then ultimately scrapped, and we would be like, oh, that idea just didn't work. We're not going to do that again because we tried it. When it's really just about timing, that's what a lot of these shows, you have so many of these shows that didn't make it very far because they were ahead of their time. I think if we put a gay dad show on television today, it would be ahead of its time, and we need to kind of gradually sprinkle that into the shows that we currently have to eventually, make it just a little more comfortable for people that aren't comfortable with it. I think it's easy for those of us that watch Real Housewives or that are familiar and experienced with gay culture, and it's kind of in our everyday lives, especially like with me living in Los Angeles, than it would be for somebody like, in the Midwest, where we know a lot of Bravo watchers also live out in the Midwest, and that's why they judge so many of these people so much. That's why you see Bronwyn's relationships judged so harshly, or the Vanderpump kids, you see them get judged so harshly based off of their decisions, because like in the metropolitan cities like New York and Los Angeles, like these are very common things, but it's not very common to everybody in the country just yet. So anyway, that's my rant about the show specifically. But so what Perez is saying is that he thought he would go to Andy directly and be like, yo, Andy, let's make this happen. You're a gay dad now. I'm a gay dad. We can make this gay dads thing happen. Gay daddies all the way. Yeah. And then Andy's like, I don't think so, homie. And Andy agreed with kind of the notes that he was getting from other networks that were shooting down the concept for the show, that it was too niche and that we're just not ready for it. And so Andy said no, and then Perez later heard or somehow found out that Andy was then pitching this concept recently about a show for gay dads. And so he was like really upset, and he's like, what? Andy's doing this? And so apparently Andy isn't. If I believe that there is some sort of project in development with Bravo, but from what the Bravo execs have said, Andy is not attached to the show as talent or like behind the scenes either. And Perez really wants to be on it, and he's like, well, maybe Andy just doesn't want to work with me because like I have a tarnished reputation. But it's like when you write a book and you're talking about like your public falling out with Lady Gaga, or like, you making out with John Mayer, like I don't know, it's just like you do kind of have a tarnished reputation. And Perez Hilton, the blog, was really popular at one point, but we see that like it just didn't age well. And like I do agree that Perez is kind of collateral damage at this point, and I don't know what his career would look like or would become. I think that there's definitely an opportunity for redemption. I don't know if this book was necessarily that. I believe that this book was a bit of an apology tour, or at least a start in that direction. But who knows what's actually going to happen with that. But apparently he was upset with Andy for pitching this gay dad's concept when Andy's like, I didn't pitch it. It kind of was just like happening. I don't think that we'll ever see this project come to light anytime soon, like not within the next year or two. Maybe after that, we may see something, but I think we're going to be in the pre-production phase where they're going to test it out and be like, can we do this? Can we get the chemistry right? Can we find the right dads that would, be able to do the show and not be too gay because that's too polarizing for our culture, but, would be able to, again, I think you have to mix it in with heterosexual couples. Unfortunately, I just think that that's where we have to start. Not that I like it, not that I agree with it, but I just think for the culture, that's where we have to start. But apparently Perez Hilton is still like very, salty AF. But it's probably just because he was trying too hard to lick John Mayer's balls.